Danielson. Danielson.
Excused for now.
Doherty. Exum. Frizzell. Gonzalez. Hendrickson. Jaquez Lewis.
Excused.
Judah. Kip. Kirkmeyer. Colker. Liston. Lundeen. Marchman. Michelson Genet. Mullica. Pelton B. Pelton R. Rich. Roberts. Rodriguez. Simpson. Snyder. Sullivan. Weissman. Winter. Danielson. Mr. President.
Let's do this. The morning roll call is 34 present, 0 absent, 1 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Kipp, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you. If everybody in the chamber will please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the journal. Senator Carson.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate Journal of February 13th, 2025 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. Senate Services.
Correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 5. Correctly enrolled, Senate Bills 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, or 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, and 115.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate proceed out of order to take up general orders, second reading of bills.
You heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will proceed out of order to take up general orders, second reading of bills. General orders, second reading of bills. Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the continuation of general orders, second reading of bills.
You heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will re-resolve itself as Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills. Senator Weissman will take the chair.
Committee will come to order. The coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to Senate Bill 3.
Senate Bill 3 by Senators Sullivan and Gonzalez and Representatives Basnicker and Froelich concerning prohibited activity involving semi-automatic firearms and in connection therewith prohibiting the manufacture, distribution, transfer, sale, and purchase of specified semi-automatic firearms and classifying a device that increases the rate of fire of a semi-automatic firearm as a dangerous weapon.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 003 and L41.
There's an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read L41 to Senate Bill 3.
Amendment L41.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L41 to Senate Bill 003.
To L41.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the amendment that was discussed at length yesterday about the hunter education course and the additional extended and also modified firearm safety course. The changes that are reflected in L41 as opposed to the previously discussed and then thereafter withdrawn L34 are the following. One, there is reference in the amendment, and I want to be clear where I am reflecting this at. There is language on page 3, starting at line 11, that ensures that the criminal history check follows alongside with the provisions of the concealed carry permit process. That's one piece that is updated and reflected in L41. The second update to L41 is on page 5, starting on line 2, where there is a cash fund reflected in order to, again, similar to the Hunter education course, that is administered by the CPW. L41 would allow the certification to be fee-based. Lastly, the third update to L41 that is then a difference from L34 is on page 1 of the bill, and you'll see it reflected on line 11. So I had walked through previously, right, if an individual wanted to participate in one of these safety courses, firearm safety courses. If they're a hunter, they go through one route. If they are not a hunter, they go through the second route. What is different and clarified here is that for a renewal course, the individual would not have to take a full 12-hour course. They would be able to take the modified, shorter 4-hour course. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to explain the shifts reflected in L41 to 003. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion? Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good morning to you. A clarifying question for the sponsors of the amendment, sponsors of the bill. With my hunter license, I have a CID number that has embedded in it my hunter safety documentation. So there's a CID number that tracks or travels with me. Will there be a similar type of registration for the individual that attains this firearm safety course that you propose?
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the good senator from Lundeenville for the question. Now, what I do want to direct your attention to is reflected in section 3, page 3, starting at line 31, where the firearms training and safety course record system is defined and outlined. That process then, and I specifically would point to on page 4, beginning at line 7, 2A, the division shall develop and operate a system of records of persons who, so on and so forth, right? And so I hope that language there is responsive to the question that you've asked.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you very much. And it does answer conceptually. I'm assuming that they would assign a number similar to the CID number. We live in a land and time of digital documentation, so I don't know that you would necessarily get a card, but this is, metaphorically at least, an individual would have I'm a card-carrying member of safe firearms handling, and therefore I can go down to my local gun store and buy. Is that the concept we're talking here?
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, separately, there is discussion throughout the course of the amendment that the card that would be issued would actually be a physical card in order to ensure, and I'm sure that it would, to your point, your question about the numbers and what have you, there is reference in the amendment to the system that would be accessible to CPW, your local sheriff, and also FFLs, and thereafter a card that an individual would be able to obtain to demonstrate their successful completion and passage. Thank you so much for the question.
Senator R. Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One thing that I see that's glaringly missing is, several other things that we do in this life. Your practical experience counts towards renewals. I don't see that anywhere in this amendment. Another thing that concerns me is the extra work that will be have to be undertaken in some of these sheriff's departments. Sheriffs and county commissioners don't really get along the best, and they will need to expand their budget line. And to me, that ends up being an unfunded mandate, because county commissioners have limited resources. They can actually expand their budgets, and so it's going to be real hard to add. Some of these jurisdictions have several gun shops in them, and we could be looking at several applications that will need to be processed. And so for that, I do not support this amendment. And also, this bill is completely changed since we first heard it in committee. So I would really like to see this go back to State Affairs and get a honest hearing, again, with county commissioners and sheriffs involved around this whole new amendment that we were looking at right here in 041. And with those conditions, I think that it'd be appropriate to send it back to committee. So thank you.
All right, we are on L41. Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question for the sponsor of the amendment. Here on page 4, it talks about that they've had to complete a hunter education course, a basic firearms safety course, or an extended firearms safety course. Are those courses administered by CPW? And if so, can you give us some idea as to how much those courses cost? Are they $5, $10, $20? I don't know. Can you give us some idea?
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the good senator from Colorado Springs for the question. We grappled deeply, actually, about that question because certainly recognizing and understanding that the standard hunter education safety course is fee-funded, and the cost associated with that hunter education safety course is $10 currently. Now, this course will be certified by the Division of Parks and Wildlife and will be dependent on how much interest there is, and certainly will also be dependent on I'm sorry, what is the word that I want to use? The number of applicants, thank you. who participate. And so that will be subject to, I'm sure, the rules promulgated by the department as they establish the program. But certainly, we want to ensure that this is both a promulgation of enhanced safety for the user and also for the community at large. And so hope that this is an amendment that will both balance the needs of the safety of the community while also ensuring that individuals can continue to navigate these processes. Thank you.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to be perfectly clear, I'm just, so that these various courses, it sounds like there's 3 different courses. There's the hunter education course, there's the basic firearm safety course, or an extended firearm safety course, that there's sort of different levels, but they all will be administered by the Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Is that correct? And then there'll probably be different levels. One might be 10, one might be 15 or 20. Is that a reasonable assumption?
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, to be clear, to the good senator from Colorado Springs, the first course for hunter education, that's already existing law. That exists today, and can certainly reference to the point in statute should that be necessary. But what L41 seeks to do is to create, for the purposes of individuals who wish to purchase a firearm that otherwise would be prohibited by 003, a process for either, if you've done the hunter education course, an additional 4-hour course, or if you have not completed that initial hunter education course, an extended module. The third module that I'm referring to, again, is that renewal module for individuals who wish, after 5 years, if they wish to purchase a new firearm, they would thereafter go about the renewal process. I hope that clears things up. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on Mr. Minority Leader to L41? Mr. Minority Leader, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the conversation very much. This obviously is going to engender some privacy concerns. We're dealing with a new set of issues that develop out of this. It makes for a slightly different conversation than the conversation we were having previously. May have some comments about that as we move forward. And with that, I'd ask for a senatorial 5. They're just trying to clean up.
Senatorial 5. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the committee rise, report progress, and beg leave to sit again.
Members, the motion is to rise, report progress, and sit again. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it, and we will rise, report, and sit again.
Senate will come back to order. Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has been meeting and considering one bill. Will Mr. Schaffler please read the report?
February 14, 2025. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has met and begged leave to sit again later in the day.
Mr. Schaffler, please excuse Senator Frizzell. Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate re-resolve into the Committee of the Whole for the continuation of general orders, second reading of bills.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will re-resolve itself to the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general order, second reading of bills, and Senator Weissman will take the chair.
Committee will come to order. Court rule is relaxed. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to Senate Bill 3.
Senate Bill 3 by Senators Sullivan and Gonzalez and Representative Basnicker and Froelich concerning prohibited activity involving semi-automatic firearms and in connection therewith, prohibiting the manufacture, distributions, transfer, sale, and purchase of the specified semi-automatic firearms, and classifying a device that increases the rate of fire of a semi-automatic firearm as a dangerous weapon.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 3 and L41.
To L41, Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you very much. In the process of considering L41, I want to thank the crack staff for their quick cycle of the Committee of the Whole action. I want to thank the bill sponsors for their latitude in taking this action. Thank you all very much. No further comments at this time.
Is there further discussion on L41? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of L41. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. No. The ayes have it. 41 is adopted. Back to the bill. Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 3? Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 5 members, undersigned members of the Colorado State Senate request a fiscal note under Senate Rule 25E for the following bill, Senate Bill 25003.
Senatorial 5. All right, as a reminder, there had been a request under 25E for the preparation of a new fiscal note. Nonpartisan staff has brought that fiscal note upstairs. Members have been looking at it. With that, we had just concluded the adoption of L41, and the question is the adoption of Senate Bill 3 on second reading. Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 3? Minority Leader Lundin. We are to the bill.
We are to the bill. Throw me my notepad, if you would, the blue one. The notepad, just the blue notepad. It's under some stuff there. There you go. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. Colleagues, it's been a long day with two big bills, and we are coming to the final elements of this particular juncture of this particular bill. Should it pass on seconds tonight, we'll have an engrossed bill that will need to be considered differently as we consider it on thirds. The reality is we have a very different bill that we are dealing with now at this hour than the bill we were talking about at 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's been modified substantially, meaningfully, and it's got about $1.8 million a year in fiscal impact that it did not have, according to the fiscal notes, previously. And that will be an item that we'll need to be able to discuss on thirds. It is my perspective that we'll probably need to refer it to approps to figure out exactly how to deal with that. And we have a pathway, a procedural pathway that has been largely agreed upon to take care of that on thirds. I want to speak just briefly to the bill. In this context, briefly is no more than 45 minutes. I'm going to just make three principal objections to the bill as we see it before us now. The first objection is this. It still creates a list of firearms that are not allowed, except under restricted, very restrictive circumstances. That list of firearms that are available now under these restrictive circumstances is, in my mind, arbitrary and capricious. When you really sit down with somebody who knows these firearms and discuss it, they will tell you that the bill permits immediate access without having to go through the training to a Czech paratrooper's rifle, but it does not allow a standard issue American hunting rifle. That sounds arbitrary and capricious to me. And it's happened in an odd set of circumstances. When you dig into the actual firearms that are under consideration, the same mechanism, the same firing mechanism of one firearm is allowed under the bill, but if it has a different matte finish and a slightly different SKU, it has a different name or number, it is not allowed. Same actions, allowed, disallowed, arbitrary and capricious. That's my argument number one against the bill. The second argument I'll make against this bill, as it's now reconstituted or recharacterized or recreated, it makes me nervous as someone who's been described as a privacy hawk. I ran the first, along with the former Speaker now of the House. He was a member of the House at the time. He is not a member of the Senate, so I can use his name, Representative and Speaker Garnett, and I ran a student data privacy law. And I've had the good fortune to run other privacy laws. The Majority Leader and I partnered on third in the nation. We were running contemporaneous with 2 or 3 other bills, but we were third in the nation on a Consumer Privacy Act. And so I care deeply about privacy. Well, we're opening up a door to causing individuals who may not particularly want to have their name in a registry to be required to get into the registry in order to be able to get access to a firearm that they, in my mind, have a constitutional right to purchase without any kind of registration. So the second argument against privacy threats. And the third argument is really an economic damage one. We have approximately 1,500 firearms dealers in Colorado. They employ roughly 4,200 individuals. The friction we are going to put on the backs of those small businesses is going to put a lot of those 4,200, if not all of those 4,200 jobs at risk. Now, these numbers are probably going to be a little bit off because I was considering the bill and looking at these numbers. In its prior configuration, as it is now, I think there will be significant friction. People that would have bought a firearm, may not buy the firearm now. I would have bought it because I had a constitutional right to it, but now that I've got to do these 12 hours of training to do something I already know, I'm not going to spend the time, not going to spend the money. I'll buy the gun somewhere else, is what they'll say. And so that purchase is made elsewhere. Well, the previous calculation running through, and I will save, given the late hour, walking all the way through the algebra and just get to the net effect. The net effect of the bill is $17 million a year in lost revenue at the new KK 6.5% excise tax. This is lost revenue to the state. $7.8 million at 2.9% sales tax rate. $13.2 million in 4.9% average local sales tax, and $29.6 million in 11% federal tax. So what do we got there? Round numbers, never do math in public. I'm looking at 30, 60, about $70 million per year in aggregate tax revenue that is lost. Now that's with the government's perspective. What does that mean to the gun owners or the gun stores? The revenue lost, the sales lost, the jobs lost to those small business owners in Colorado from Senate Bill 3 are significant. So there's three quick arguments. If it wasn't 1:30 in the morning, I'd give you another three. I'd give you four, actually. We'd get to seven. Seven's the number of completeness. I'm confident I could come up quickly with four more arguments. I'm going to stop right there and say, based on those three arguments alone, you ought to be a no on this. Colleagues, I appreciate the respectful conversation we've had today. I appreciate and do not, I appreciate and am grateful for the intentions and motivations of this bill. I do not impugn. In fact, I support and uphold the motivations of the sponsors. I'm grateful for their efforts on behalf of the people of Colorado, and I disagree with the policy as it lands. Colleagues, thank you for working diligently today. Thanks for staying here late, and that's correct, yesterday and today. Thank you for that. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. You've done a good job the 2 or 3 times you've been in the chair today. Thank you.
All right, the question is the adoption of Senate Bill 3. Is there further discussion? Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and let me reiterate my thanks to everybody for sitting through this and dealing with this. We've spent, quite a bit of time these last several weeks trying to get it to a space where we could be inclusive to everybody who was having concerns. That's how it is that we ended up with the amendments that we did. That's how we ended up in the late night portion there to make sure that our hunters and our sportsmen we were listening to them, and we acted for them. But I'm incredibly pleased that here on the 656th Friday since my son Alex was murdered by a guy who came into the movie theater with a high-capacity magazine that looked just like this. It was almost about this time, it was 12:38 on that Friday morning, that he had the ability to come into that theater with a 100-round drum, over 400 rounds of ammunition. He had 3 other high-capacity magazines with him. Luckily, when things jammed up, he wasn't able to kill any more than that. And because of this legislation, we will have created the ingenious gun industry, and all of their acolytes will have come up with chassis and platforms and firearms here in the state of Colorado that when they go to put a high-capacity magazine to it or any size magazine to it, that section will already be closed off to them. You buy something in Colorado now, that section is closed. So these 100-round drums, for the life of me, I can't figure out what they're for other than walking into places like the movie theater and a King Soopers and a school and trying to kill as many people as you can. Because no one uses this when they're out hunting. But that's what this was designed for. So now, because of this legislation, you can't slap that in to a new chassis, a new receiver, a new platform, a new firearm, whatever terminology those people on the outside of this window are blowing their minds about that I'm getting it all wrong, okay? These will not be useful anymore. You'll be able to still have and enjoy what we have been listening to for years. I have been listening to in chambers like this, in public forums, in committee rooms. I have been hearing that we want something that is lightweight, something that we can trick out and create and make it our own. That is what is going to be available to you because the ingenious gun industry and all of those are already figuring it all out. While I was discussing this bill with the shooting sports people, he was already telling me what the problems were with the other high-capacity magazine ban that we had and how we should have fixed it. And he's sitting there figuring out how he's going to work around this one. He's already working himself through it while he tells me I've got 50 AR-15s in my safe at home. So, I mean, none of this is going to impact him. We know that, and that's most of the people that are out there. But I am pleased with what we have been able to put together during the day and into the early hours. I appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. I think we listened. I think we made really constructive improvements to what we had even early this morning. And that's what this stuff takes. That's what I think we're here to do. That's why we stay late like this, is to get it right. This is the right thing to do. Thank you all for being here, and I ask for an aye vote on SB 003.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 3? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of Senate Bill 3 on second reading. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. No. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 3 passes. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar till later in the day.
Members, the motion is to lay over the balance of the calendar. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it, and the balance of the calendar will lay over. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The question is to rise and report. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it. We will rise and report. All right. Sew it up.
Senate will come to order. Senator Wiseman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has been meeting and has had a number of bills under consideration. Will Mr. Schaffler please read the report?
February 14, 2025. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 3, as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. There's an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read S002 to Senate Bill 3.
Amendment S002, Senator Peltonar moved to...
Senator Peltonar.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, or Mr. President, I am sorry. I move Amendment 002 to the Committee of the Whole.
To the amendment, Senator Peltonar.
Thank you, Mr. President. This amendment is to amend the committee report. The amendment that went on in committee was to allow filmmakers to go ahead and promulgate violence towards children, towards families, towards whatever their movie has to deal with. I don't think that's appropriate. They get a pass when our constituents don't. So I just think that is just patently wrong. I don't think it is sending the right message, and I would ask for an aye vote on 002.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for a no vote.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of S002 to Senate Bill 3. Are there any no votes? Senators Snyder, Roberts, Doherty, Mullica, Exum, Mr. Majority Leader, Amabile, Bridges, Winter, Colker, Danielson, Sullivan, Gonzalez, Cutter, Weissman, Marchman, Ball, Judah, Kipp, Michelson Janae, Henriksen. Please add the president. With a vote of 11 ayes, 22 noes, 0 absent to excuse, S002 to Senate Bill 3 is lost. There is, that's all right, an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read S003 to Senate Bill 3.
Amendment S003, Senator Frizzell moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to show that the following Frizzell floor amendment L038 to Senate Bill 3 did pass. Amend printed bill, page 6, line 22, strike and, page 7, line 5, strike analysis and substitute analysis, and E, the transfer or sale of a specified semi-automatic firearm and the receipt or purchase of a specified...
Leader Lundin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Cow Amendment 3 to SB 3.
To the
Golden
amendments.
Cow Amendment.
Mr. Minority Leader.
It's a great amendment. We all debated it earlier. It's about time to get on board.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I disagree. I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the adoption of S003 to Senate Bill 3. Are there any no votes? Senators, Mr. Majority Leader, Gonzalez, Weissman, Cutter, Michelson Janae, Kipp, Marchman, Danielson, Colker, Judah, Ball, Sullivan, Snyder, Winter, Bridges, Amabile, Exum, Henriksen, Mullica, Doherty. Please add the president. With a vote of 12 ayes, 21 noes, 0 absent to excuse, S-003 to Senate Bill 3 is lost. There is an amendment of the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read S-004 to Senate Bill 3.
Amendment S-004, Senator Frizzell moves to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to show that the following Frizzell floor amendment L-023 to Senate Bill 3 did pass.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you very much. I withdraw Amendment 4.
Amendment 4 to Senate Bill 3 has been withdrawn. There is an amendment of the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read S-005 to Senate Bill 3.
Amendment S-005, Senator Rich
Senator
moves to
Rich.
amend.
Thank you, Mr. President. I withdraw S-005.
S-005 to Senate Bill 3 has been withdrawn. There's a member of the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read S-006 to Senate Bill 3.
Amendment
Mr.
S-006.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move S-006.
Proper motion to the amendment, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, colleagues. We had a good debate earlier on. We talked about the veterans, being able to add the veterans into the exceptions of the bill. Obviously, that is not always a good thing, and always having continued training is always a good thing to qualify them for. So this bill will remove Amendment L010.
Any further discussion? Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, members, we did have a good, fair, honest debate about my amendment L010. And I want to appeal to all of you who voted for the amendment, even if you didn't. This is not a vote for me. This is a vote for our honorably discharged veterans. This is a vote for your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, your uncles, your neighbors, your husbands that have honorably sacrificed for our country. They've given their blood, their sweat, their tears, their limbs for our country. It's the least we can do is to honor them and show them that we trust them. They have not been the problem over the years. They are not going out and committing heinous crimes. It's because of them that we are here and able to have this debate tonight. It's the least we can do to honor our distinguished, honorably discharged veterans. I humbly ask you, not for me, but for our veterans. This is a vote for our veterans. I urge a no vote on the Amendment L006. Thank you very much. Please honor them. Thank you.
Any further discussion on S-006 to Senate Bill 3? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of S-006 to Senate Bill 3. Are there any no votes? Senators, Mr. Minority Leader, Simpson, Catlin, Liston, Baisley, Rich, Pelton R., Carson, Bright, Kirkmeyer, Pelton B., Exum, Roberts, Snyder, Henriksen, Ball,
Mark you as a no.
Senator Ball.
Mr. President, is this on? Mr. President, I would like to be recorded as an aye vote.
Senator Ball will be recorded as an aye vote. With a vote of 18 ayes, 15 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, S006 of Senate Bill 3 is adopted. The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? Senators Liston, Pelton R., Mr. Minority Leader, Simpson, Catlin, Baisley, Rich, Carson, Bright, Kirkmeyer, Pelton B., with a vote of 22 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Do I need a re-report? Senator 5. Senator Pelton R.
Thank you, Mr. President. Things we went so long, I missed it, but in my hometown of Cheyenne Wells, Colorado, we had a young lady turn 107 years old yesterday, and she still can beat anybody who plays her in pitch. So, congratulations, Marie.
Congratulations and happy birthday. Senator Mabele.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to mention that we will be having appropriations promptly at 9 a.m. today. We'll be hearing Senate Bill 24, 33, 37, 42, 45, and potentially other things that might come up.
Any other announcements? Seeing none, Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, members. We will reconvene at 10 a.m. this morning, later in the day. Also a reminder We will be convening at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, February 18th, after the following President's Day. Mr. President, I move the Senate recess until 10 a.m. today.
You heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will stand in recess until 10 a.m. today.